Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wild Eric's Traveling Podcast. I am here with Rachel Amick of Scale Street Music here in Reidsville, North Carolina. If you've never been to North Carolina, this is the reason you need to come to North Carolina. She's a music store owner, and listen, they've got stuff here. It's not like a normal music store. They've got all kinds of strange Egyptian, instruments, stuff they dug out of a cave somewhere in Africa. I mean, you've got some really amazing stuff here.
Thank you.
Today we're going to get into Rachel's life story, how it all began. How did she become a musician? Was she born to a family of traveling gypsy musicians? We don't know. We're going to find out this today. So Rachel, why don't you tell us a little bit how you became a musician?
Yeah, so I actually grew up in a very, very special, cool way. Both of my parents are music instructors.
How lucky are you? That's crazy.
I know, right? So I practically grew up in a music store.
Hold on, let's stop here. They're not just musicians. These people instruct music. So they're masters. You were born, it's the DNA. It's not just what they taught you. You were bred to be a musician.
Pretty much, yeah. So they've been teaching private music lessons since before I was born. So that's it's been quite a while now, and not gonna say my age, but
right. No, you were ageless.
Right. So yeah, they teach over 20 different instruments.
Wow.
Yeah, and my dad made it a point to collect as many cool instruments as he could, and yeah. So they would also teach at a music store in Martinsville called Stafford's Music. It used to be Leeds, and unfortunately, Stafford's, the owners just retired, and so it is no more, unfortunately. But that was a very special place to me. I got to go and see how our music store was run, and
so as a child, you were running free in music stores.
Yep. And they gave me free reign, and so I had my own little pathways throughout the store between the keyboards.
Did they push an instrument on you, or did you just discover something in the store and go from there? What was your first instrument? Violin,
actually.
Wow.
I've got a photo of me playing violin at 2 years old.
Can you still play?
I can. I just, my first love is the piano.
Right.
And I love piano so much, and a keyboard as well, because
with the piano, I just say what I love about piano is you can really do a rhythm and a melody at the same time.
You can.
You know, it's harder on other instruments to do that. It's almost like having a full band within that one instrument, you know?
Definitely, yeah.
Especially if you can sing, and you can sing. So doing that together, yeah.
Singing is my passion in life,
Continue your story about, growing up and all that stuff.
So, yeah, the owner at the music store that I was going to, he one day he gifted me a kazoo.
A kazoo?
A kazoo.
It's like a humming instrument, right?
Yeah. And I just thought that was so nice of him. It was really sweet.
When
really
I think
thoughtful.
of kazoos, I think of like in a party basket or a party bag when you go to a party. Here's some chocolates and here's a kazoo, and then when the party gets crazy, everybody's going, right?
Right.
So was this kazoo like made of material that's not plastic? Was this like a steel kazoo or something?
A metal kazoo. I think the one he gave me was a plastic one, but the ones that I really like that I sell at the store are the metal ones because they're louder, more pronounced. I do sell the smaller. They're called humzoos.
So you're saying your first instrument
was
a kazoo?
They're a little quieter. But no, I'm saying...
It was a violin, but then
piano.
He gifted you a kazoo.
Right, and that meant a lot to me. So I have a prize chest at my store where it says if you spend over $50, you get a free prize from the prize chest.
Oh, okay.
But I just, if kids are really, really into all the music, the experience that I do at the store, and they're really into it, I'm just like, hey, why don't you grab a prize out the prize chest? And to see their faces just light up.
So you do that even at your own store? And
the adults love it too. Just get a free thing. Yeah. I have kazoos in there, recorders.
Carrying that tradition.
Random things, picks and things. I think it's cool because who doesn't love something for free? And
my mind is going nuts right now because you know what's going on in my mind, Wild Eric's mind.
Make it a fun time.
I'm loving your story. I want to continue your story, but I can't help but wonder, where did this what is the origin of the kazoo? What planet does this thing come from? Does it date back to the Native Americans? Does it date back to China? I mean, that would be interesting for our audience to go the history of a kazoo. Well, I guess I could look online, but I'm not going to do that. I guess I could. You want to do?
You have a library at your fingertips.
You want to get wild? Should
now.
I hit the wild Google button? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here we go.
So the kalimbas.
What is the origin of the kazoo?
According to all classical Portland, these instruments were called merlotins or onion flutes. A popular anecdote suggests that Alabama Best, a formerly enslaved person residing in Macon, Georgia, designed the modern kazoo in 1840 in collaboration with German clock manufacturer Thaddeus von Clegg.
Are you hearing this?
Onion flute?
A slave worked with a German clock manufacturer to make a kazoo. Now that is insane.
Did not know that.
We're learning amazing things here today.
That's interesting.
But I don't want to get too sidetracked. My mind is nuts. So let's get back to Rachel's delicious story.
The kalimbas that I saw here are from Zimbabwe originally.
What they call kalimbas?
Kalimbas.
Kalimbas. And it's a kind of drum?
It is a thumb harp.
Oh, that's what we were looking at earlier.
Yes.
Now, hold on. I'm just going to... Can anybody hear that out there?
So...
Play it right quick. So this instrument she sells here at Scale Street Music in North Carolina. Hold it up to the microphone a little bit. Whoa, that's too much. Whoa. But that's called a kalimba?
Kalimba.
I have no pronunciation skills. Kalimba. And it originates from?
Zimbabwe.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Right?
And those go for $2,000.
No.
They're $200, right?
That is the resonator one.
And you can't hit a sour note. All of it's aligned. That's the joy of this instrument. You can't hit a sour note.
Right. Well, they have ones that have all the notes, and you can play songs on them. And they've really been blowing up on YouTube and TikTok right now.
And you can plug them into an amp, right?
And then we've got some that are electric as well. And that specific one is in A minor. So it's like chimes. You can't hit a wrong note.
Wow.
But it also resonates. It's got a built-in
if you're
pedal.
having, listen, let's just say you're having a binger one night. Your life is not exactly the Hollywood dream you thought it would be. And you're losing your crap one night. And you're having a panic attack. And you're like, oh, life! You could pull these out and soothe yourself. Like King David was soothed. Actually, it was King Saul was soothed by David's harp playing. The Bible says that demons were upon Saul, and David played the harp and soothed him.
Yes. We actually have a lyre here, Lyre, and it's a harp from biblical times, and also a psaltery.
Psaltery?
Yep.
Tell us about the psaltery.
Also from biblical times. It is a string instrument, and you play it with a bow. Ooh. And on the right side is the whole notes, and then the left side are the sharps and flats.
Wow.
And it's a very unique instrument. And I love unique instruments, and so I try to make the music store an experience for kids and adults.
Yeah.
You come in, and I want to show people, here's all the really cool different things you probably never heard of.
A blend of tradition and the new, and the things that people maybe haven't done music with, in a American sense. America, we grew up with Elvis, the Beatles, all that stuff like that. And, we haven't heard things in that music with the kalimba as the lead or, the other instrument you were talking about. So that's fascinating.
Yep.
I'm a babbler. I'll let you continue your story.
Yeah, so just going to the music store and seeing all the different pianos and keyboards and different instruments and everything, I was entranced. I thought it was really amazing. And then I'd go home, and we had a strew of different instruments everywhere, and my dad knew how to play them all. Not only that, he knew the intricate music theory about all of it. And so, and I was homeschooled for a couple years until
why you're so
third
awesome.
grade. Yeah, I knew how to spell beautiful
because the parents taught 6. You right. And we're in public school. The teachers don't give a crap about you. Well, some of them do. Maybe about 40%, whatever. But your parents, if they're going to homeschool you, they're going to take pride in it. So yep. When I hear someone's homeschooled, I take a step back and go, wow, this person's going to be extra sharp.
Definitely. And my parents are lifelong learners. My dad has his master's, and when they taught me
in music,
different classes, No, actually, he in business, and
wow.
He's got a lot of.
He's like a Wolf of Wall Street and a musician.
Yeah, and a writer. He's a novelist.
Wow.
Yeah, he's quite amazing.
So there's a very creative family you got here.
Yeah.
And I got to take you back for a second. How did your parents meet? Do you know that story? Was it through a musical connection? They're both at maybe like they're watching John Lennon do a concert, and maybe they both smoked a cigarette at the same time, and like, hey, you have really great eyes. Let's make a baby named Rachel.
Actually, they both went to Hanging Rock at different times with their church groups, and my mom was leaving as my dad was arriving. She had gotten there late, missed where the group was going, and kind of went off on a trail on her own. And when she was getting back with everybody and about to leave, she met my dad under a big oak tree. And they started talking about themselves and music, and they found out that they both loved music so much, and so music brought them together, and it was beautiful. Very sweet.
I've always wanted to meet a woman under a big tree. I don't know I'm not just joking for this conversation. I'm serious. Like, there's something about being under a tree, and I even thought about doing a podcast, just me under a tree. I don't know, because the tree is connected to the earth. There's energy. There's just something beautiful about that. I don't know.
Just me under a tree. It sounds like a song.
Just right. That could be you and me under a tree, making a family.
That's even better.
Making a family under a tree. Yeah.
Goodness.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, so my dad started courting my mother. Yes, it was called courting back then, and he lived about an hour away or so, and would drive to Eden to see her. And 6 months later, only 6 months, they got married. And then a year later, they had me.
I love that. I love it when people get married instantly. And then they stay together. Like, you hear about these marriages, people get married and like, oh, we just got married in the heat of the moment, and then it doesn't work out. But then you hear about those who got married like after 3 months, and they're still together, and you're like, hey, there's, sometimes it works out. Yeah. And
I think music brought them together and kept them together.
And they've written songs together.
Yeah, they perform together constantly, and
people don't realize the bonding experience you get from writing songs together. Like, everybody I've ever written a song with, like my friend Brady, who's here in the Peanut Gallery tonight. Anybody you write a song with, there's a bonding experience. It's like you created a child,
Yeah, my boyfriend and I have been writing songs together recently. We're a duo, and I'm really excited about the stuff we've been working on.
And plus, if there's ever a time where you're having a breakup or something, you can whip out the song and be like, don't you remember the song we made together? I'll sing it to you. And then you just reel them back in. Before you know it, they're making you a grilled cheese at midnight.
Sounds just like you're talking from experience.
Well, it's just I have visions that come to me. But yeah, I would love to make a grilled cheese sandwich for a magical woman at some point in my life.
You make a good grilled cheese?
It just depends, because when I'm in the kitchen, it's hit or miss. What I like to do is get in there, get in a proper state of mind, and then be creative in the kitchen. There are some chefs that go in there all stale with their cookbooks. I go in there like some kind of crazed philosopher that drank too much of the orgot. And I'm in there like, I just visited the Oracle of Delphi, and I'm like, now, I don't even know what dill is, but we're going to throw dill in there. And then garlic has to be the base of everything, because you can't go wrong with garlic. Mm-hmm. And then I'm trying new spices, turmeric and Aragon. You ever heard of Aragon spice? Mm-mm. And I get the pastes. I'm up there in the grocery stores. I'm like, hey, I don't know what this paste does. Let's throw that in there. So I like to be like almost like a mad painter in the kitchen throwing. And a lot of times I get something that's complete garbage, but every once in a while I get a unique recipe, and it's only for that moment in time, never to be discovered again. Well, I'll have some kind of residue, some kind of memory of what I did. But a lot of times I don't even know what I'm doing. But what I'm trying to say is I'm hit or miss in the kitchen. So she might get a good grilled cheese with some fennel in it. I was telling people the other day I was cooking with fennel, and they're like, "You're cooking with fentanyl?"
Oh, God.
I'm like, "No, I'm cooking with fennel. Fennel."
Not trying to kill anybody.
And now, back to the life of Rachel.
It's all about the cheese, though, man.
You know what? There's so many cheeses out there. We can go on and on about cheese.
I know.
I try to...
It's a whole other podcast.
Listen, when I go into the food line or whatever, I'm always looking for a cheese that I'm, don't normally use. Like, I'll like, hey, let me try a Gouda. Or let me try... And it's a lot of the hanging cheese or whatever in the packages. But I find that if you really want to be an explorer in the cheese universe, you have to get out of the aisle and get to that section where they have the big cheese wheels. And you'll spend like $10 on a big hunk of cheese. Mm-hmm. But I find that's the best cheese, really.
Brie. Brie is where it's at.
The cheese that you can't even pronounce.
Also the Briat, if I'm saying that.
Brianna. I named her after cheese.
Brie is the best.
Brie's delicious. I love brie. Goat cheese, they say, is actually better for the body.
Goat cheese is awesome. I used to make goat soap.
Okay, out of what?
Not goat soap, sorry. Goat milk.
This is from the Dark Lord. Goat soap. So your parents, they were addicted to goat soap, and okay, let's get back to so your parents, they give birth to a musician because listen, if two musicians get together and have a kid, they're not going to be like giving birth to a lawyer. You're going to have some kind of an artist.
You should hear me and my two sisters sing 3-part harmony.
So
that's something special.
That's something we haven't covered. You have siblings. They're also musically talented because they were raised by musicians. And you sing with them.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing. I'd love to hear that.
Yeah. That's special.
Well, it's great because, here's the thing. I don't really have... My brother and I, even though my brother is not really the greatest guitar player, we've actually written songs together, and it's just a great bonding experience,
Nice.
And we had a little band called Haunted House, and we wrote some really strange songs about life and weirdness. And but yeah, that's the joy of music. It's not just learning to play; it's the bonding that comes from music.
Definitely.
Not just with your audience, but with your fellow members.
Yeah. Well, actually, my youngest sister Hannah, who lives nearby, she is a beautiful soprano. She can really sing well in the upper registers. I am an alto. Mm-hmm. I'm really a contralto. Actually, my range is more like a male tenor, to be honest.
Do you envy them?
I can sing very low.
Do you envy people who can do high notes and stuff?
I used to.
I do.
I used to, actually. It hurt, actually, for a while.
That you couldn't
when
perform
I was younger.
like they could?
Yeah, my mother is a soprano. My sisters are, and singing in the choir, I always tried to force myself to sing higher and higher and higher.
I was just saying, I think sometimes what a parent eats during is it called gestation, when a child is growing in the womb, whatever a mother eats during that time, I think affects the health of the child. So if your mother would have ate more greens, do you think you would have been more of a soprano? Or
no, my mother eats very healthfully. She eats a lot of greens.
So maybe it was I don't know. What makes somebody come out with a better vocal range? And if there was a food you could eat to make that increase, wouldn't that be a scientific discovery?
Sure, but actually I spoke with a lady a couple months ago, a customer, and I told her, like, yeah, she was telling me about her operatic soprano daughter, and I was like, yeah, I used to wish that I could sing opera. I used to wish I could sing soprano so bad, because Phantom of the Opera is my favorite musical of all time, and I wish I could sing Sarah Brightman.
Oh my God, love Sarah Brightman.
I do too.
That part in the song where
so
Antonio Banderas does a duet with her I saw it on YouTube.
Nice.
He's like, "Sing to me, my angel of music," and she's like, "Ah."
Yes.
And it's just.
And I can sing it in falsetto,
right,
in my head voice.
But
I can
not
sing
the actual,
but not like her. No. And so I told that lady, like, hey, yeah, I wish I could do that. Like, well, for the longest time, I wished I could do that.
But
and I'm embracing my alto voice now. And she's like, oh, well, that's your voice. That's rare.
Right.
That's a good thing.
Well, everybody has their own unique voice, and even though you don't have the crazy range, I mean, think about this.
Didn't think about
Johnny
it like
Cash.
that. Thank you.
Johnny Cash doesn't have a crazy range. Rod Stewart doesn't have a crazy range. Mick Jagger doesn't. But they make their mark based on their own personal voice and how the inflection of their personality into it's how you sing.
Right.
And
I have a very deep, soulful voice, and I realized I'm really good at jazz.
And we're going to make Rachel sing at the end of the podcast. This is the first podcast I've had a musician on, ladies and gentlemen, who follow this. All 50 million of you guys. You're going to hear Rachel sing at the end of this podcast. So stay tuned.
All right. Nice.
And we will find you and serenade you outside of your window.
Yes, I will.
What if you did that? What if you were like, you know, you dressed up like a ninja at night, you left the house, and you were like, you know how people go around Christmas caroling? What if you did that without people asking for it, and you became like a menace on society? Let's go troll sing tonight. Until the cops are called, then you run on to the next place and do it. You know, and then there's a newscast like, we don't know who's doing this. There are mad carolers going around and waking up people who are trying to get up for work, singing strange songs like Bop and so forth. You know, just.
Oh, I love Bop.
Do you like Bop?
I love that song.
Now the world knows. Oh God.
I was a huge Hanson fan when I was a kid.
Wow, yes. Hanson.
Yes.
Those guys were like a Jean commercial or something. Like selling T-shirts at
Sears. Guys should have long hair. That should be a thing.
Were they guys? I don't know if Hanson were considered guys. It's not the kind of guys you would like see in an alley having street fights.
Okay, yes, but man, I really love that song. So happy song.
I hear they still do stuff. Yeah. But moving back to the childhood and the crazy experiences of Rachel Amick here,
actually,
owner of Scale Street Music in Reidsville, North Carolina.
Something interesting though.
Yes.
My boyfriend told me recently that when he was in San Francisco, all of a sudden he was walking down the street, and all of a sudden this group of teenagers, college-age kids, came out from, he was next to a hostel, walking by a hostel, and they just came out and surrounded him and started singing.
Well, they flanked him
they were
like
just
a gang?
kind of like dancing around him, singing.
See, would be even better if they sang to him and then beat him. It's like, did you like our song, Essay?
He said it was just such a beautiful experience.
That is actually really beautiful.
Yeah. Just random people.
And then they just demanded money.
Bringing joy.
It's like, we sang for you, now we're going to beat your crack off.
No.
If you don't pay us for the song you heard, you know.
Oh, goodness.
No, I'm saying, what if they're like rogues, like in the Robin Hood times, they come out, they're like, well, now that you heard our song, you know, in prison, when
to the ninja singers,
when you go to the prison, like I've been a few times, and they give you a Snickers, they say, don't take the Snickers on your bed, otherwise you owe them. You owe them something. So I'm saying, like, what if these bands come out and they're just like, okay,
let's pay the toll.
Right, you pay the toll. You heard the song. We gave you the song. Now, what are you going to give us in return?
Oh, but music isn't like that.
But it can be. Like, if you had a new musical, like, I like musicals to death. World's Greatest Showman, best musical ever. But what if you had a more violent musical, and they had something like, what was that, the musical, Cannibal, the musical, what was it called?
Oh, my goodness.
No, what Sarah Brightman was in. It wasn't
what?
Called... Yeah, it was called, you know, they were taking people's organs out. Brady, help me out here. No, and like, she rips out her eyeballs and gets impaled by a fence. I'm not making this up. It'll come in any second. They're harvesting organs.
Oh my goodness!
And it was a real musical. It was called, and it was by the same name of a Jude Law movie. But anyway, it'll come to me later. We'll get back to it. But it's a real movie, and it's a fairly violent musical. I mean, West Side Story had some gang fights in it, right? And it was a musical. You know, I'm just saying, violent musicals. We haven't really seen too many. You know, I think that it would. You know, there's a whole genre there.
If you're into that kind of thing.
Sorry for all the tangents. Yeah.
No.
I'll go ahead. Take the floor.
This is kind of like classic
Repo the musical.
Dionysus versus, what's the other one?
Dionysus? Isn't that some kind of a Greek god of flesh?
What's the other one, Zeus?
Dionysus.
No, I can't remember. Anyway. No, it was just something that I was delving into recently about the kind of not good versus bad, but dark versus light.
Okay.
And you might see it in a song soon that I'm writing.
So you're working on a song that has the theme of dark versus light?
Yeah. But it's really interesting. I won't spoil it though. We'll delve into
Okay,
it
so
later.
you're going to keep that a secret for now.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it is interesting. So I'm the light, kind of
You're the good guy.
the opposite of the
You're the good girl.
Dionysus part. Anyway,
Right.
yeah. My music. Okay, so I understand when they're sad and angry, upset. Life is hard, man.
You empathize with that.
So I understand that some people really like to delve into angry music, and,
Right, yeah.
and metal and sad songs.
I don't like that.
I don't either.
I don't. Well, I like
That
sad songs. I don't like.
It doesn't make me happy.
I don't like violent songs. You know.
Yeah, but everyone deals with the stress of life in their own way.
It's true. It's true. For some people, it's very therapeutic.
Yeah. So
They get in the gym and beat the bag.
Right. For me, I try to look on the bright side of things. Always look on the bright side of life.
Oh my God, I totally was thinking that. Monty Python.
And so that's me. That's my personality. And so I have a
Optimist.
song, It's a Beautiful Day. Let's go outside. And just a lot of my songs are very happy and let's have fun.
It's an
Let's enjoy
extension of
life.
you. I mean, ultimately, music should be an extension of yourself.
Yeah. So the horror side of music that you're talking about, that doesn't really resonate with
Because you
me.
don't have a bunch of demons kicking around in your soul.
I don't.
You have mostly positive
Thankfully.
energy,
Yeah.
emotional energy,
Right.
feminine energy.
Right. So,
I've heard your stuff. I think your stuff's fantastic.
thank you.
Of course, there was a time where, me and you jammed together, and we were in Canada. We went to see Aqua together,
Yeah, that's fun.
which is wild. People don't know Aqua.
I'm a Barbie girl.
They were known for Barbie Girl, but the rest of their catalog makes up for that. But so we went to Canada.
Good. They were good.
We were in a park. We were about to go see the new Chucky movie, which was terrible, by the way.
It was so
We had just
awful.
eaten poutine. I had never had poutine, which is like
Poutine is
cheese
the
curds
best.
and
I told you you would love
wild
it.
crunchy fries
I told you.
and bacon. So
Yep.
we're in the park and we're jamming on the keyboard, and this is back in my my dirty days.
On my rollout keyboard that my band members had given me.
Yeah,
I just rolled it out on the park bench.
and I had made up these lyrics,
It was
and
fun.
Rachel's like, "Eric, we can't use those lyrics. I can't show those lyrics to my parents."
I
And that's
remember
back in
saying
my
that,
days where I was writing the dirty Andrew Dice Clay stuff. And now, since I gave my life over to God, I purify my lyrics because I don't want to put out anything negative.
Right.
But yeah,
That was funny.
it's an extension of what, like what you're saying. This music is an extension of what's going on in our soul. And hopefully other people can relate to that, and that's part of the joy.
Definitely.
You always want to think that your music is going to be able to help the world, make the world a better place, and people can put it on and go, "Huh, isn't that something? I've gone through that, and that really helps."
Yeah, I hope so. I mean,
What
honestly,
songs really helped you? Maybe we could tackle that. Is there any song you can give an example that you heard it and you go, "Hey, that song helped me through this time"?
Oh yeah. It's by First Aid Kit.
That's the band name?
Mm-hmm.
First Aid Kit.
I believe so.
And the song?
What's the name of it? Goodness.
You're on the spot now.
I know.
You're
it's
about to
on the
lose the $1 million.
spot. Oh my goodness.
10,
Um,
9,
Stop it.
8.
Do, 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 do,
7.
do, do. Well, the song is about the road less traveled and it's
The road less traveled.
it's it's about picking
The road that resonates with your soul, not following the path of the world.
exactly, and enjoying life and picking that path. And it is a really special song to me. can't believe I forgot the name of it.
It's okay. You know,
it's on my
people
my
out there now
Spotify.
know about the band First Aid Kit, and they can go and look them up on YouTube, and maybe they'll happen to run in that song that meant so much to you, because they probably put out better, well, just as good stuff. Like anything they put out, maybe will have a similar effect on anybody else that chooses to look it up. You know.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a beautiful music video to that that a fan made for it, and it's a guy parasailing, and I think that was really special watching that, and it's this guy just traveling the world, doing all really sorts of really cool, crazy things while flying.
I could never travel the world and do crazy things.
He's just flying around to this song.
It sounds like a cool music video, actually.
And it's freaking beautiful.
I almost went parasailing once. You know what happened? My grandmother's like, Eric, don't do it. You're going to fly away. And so I was like, all right, Grandma, I won't go. But, you know, she's passed away now, so I can go parasailing.
Oh, nice.
I can do a video. But, of course, it's already been done, so it'd be redundant now. So,
yeah.
Can I tell you my favorite? Well, not my favorite song. Can I tell you a song?
It's really bothering me that I don't know the name of it.
Well, maybe if I tell you mine, it'll come back to you. You'll have time. Can I talk about a song that really reached me?
Yes.
1 Year of Love by Queen. Because, you see, that movie, Highlander, touched me when I was a kid. And I remember the lyrics to 1 Year of Love. It says, 1 year of love is better than a lifetime alone. And since I've really haven't dated anybody long term in my life because I'm just a weirdo and insane, that song really touched me. You know, 1 year of love is better than a lifetime alone. And it's just a perfect, it's got the saxophone, and it embodies that time in someone's life where they're like, hey, if I just had 1 year of love, that's better than nothing, you know? So that touched me, and among many other songs, you know. I think about that song by AC/DC, Big Balls. That's something that also touched my life, I think. That was a joke.
Oh, God.
Okay, never mind.
Sorry, all I can think about is the name of the song.
Okay, so listen, you're getting into your teen years, okay?
Won't take the easy road.
Yeah, you're getting a little rebellious, whatever's happening in your teen years. And when you're in your teens, what do you find yourself playing the most? What instrument? Are you
piano?
Honing the piano?
So here's what I did.
The Billy Joel of your neighborhood.
I actually started out writing a lot of poetry.
I like the way you say poetry. So I say poetry. You're like poetry, like you're pouring it out. Like it's a glass. Would you like a glass of poetry? What are you looking up now?
Silver Lining. That was it.
First Aid Kit, Silver Lining?
That's it.
That's what it's called?
Silver Lining.
By First Aid Kit.
Won't take the easy road, the easy road, the easy road. Whoa. Yeah. Yeah. My silver lining. That's it. That's it.
Get
it's Silver
that easy
Lining.
road.
Ah, okay.
The easy
Didn't
road
even need
is
to look
for
it up.
sissies.
I figured it out. Okay.
Dreamers have guts.
But yeah, the whole parasailing thing, he's just flying around, doing whatever he wants, just flying around the world.
What's he wearing when he's flying around? Is he shirtless and some shorts? Maybe a suit?
I don't
dressed as a chicken?
Kind of see it probably.
Okay.
But
not important to the video. Okay.
Yeah. But he's very in control. Like he goes down and high fives people. Unties a woman's bikini top.
This sounds like a David Lee Roth thing. This sounds like a really deep video. Really
At
cool
the end, he
song
just flies, like drops into the water. It's amazing.
Okay, I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're entering your teen years. You're getting out of the influence of your parents because every child wants to exert their own individuality in their teens. What bands, other than First Aid Kit, are influencing you to further your musical talents?
Bands?
What bands?
Oh.
What music were you listening to back then, and what really influenced you? Because we were talking about your life as a musician.
Yeah.
How were you carved into who you are today?
Okay, that would be Evanescence and Plum were huge influences on me. If you've never heard Plum, check them out. I met the lead singer once, and she gave me some really good advice about being a singer.
What did she say?
She told me to go for it.
Well, that's
be
straightforward.
myself and do it. Just do it.
Right.
It's great advice.
Well, it is. I mean, it's very straightforward, but you have to be yourself. Otherwise, you're selling yourself short of the discovery of discovering your own sound.
Yeah.
You know.
And she actually helped a lot of people. Her music is amazing. Definitely check it out.
Did you hear the new Amy Lee song with Lindsey Sterling?
Oh, no, I have not.
She's like, it's amazing.
That is awesome.
And you get the violin. It's can't remember the name of it, but it sounds like that. Look it up.
I will. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I listened to a lot of POD.
Really? We are.
Got to meet them.
Youth of the Nation.
A few years ago.
I had their first album that no one knew about called Snuff the Punk.
Oh.
And I remember putting it on going, eh. And then a couple years later, after their first album, they really developed their sound and went big.
Yeah, there was one album.
That Zion
that
song was great. What was
really loved.
I feel so alive. That was a good one.
I feel so alive for the very first time. I can't deny it. I feel so alive. That one. Yeah. So, So, the fundamental elements of Southtown. That album is a concept album, which a lot of albums are. But that was the first time I ever knew what a concept album was. They had little short songs in there. There's an Indian or Native American singing, and
on a POD album.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
And same thing with Creed. One of the early Creed albums.
Creed,
actually. Yeah, a friend of mine from Eden, actually, Travis. He ended up.
Gotta settle no.
He ended up touring with Scott Stapp and playing guitar for him.
The news today. Yeah, I wonder how many people, as their wife was giving birth, just jammed that. What? I'm gonna be a dad. Thanks, Scott Stapp. I don't know much about.
So
Creed,
it
honestly.
was
I kind of avoided him, but
Weathered.
I saw him drunk on a show once, Scott Stapp, and he was entertaining. So
Weathered was the really cool album that I heard. That was the only one that I got into. This is the crazy tree
Creed
looking album. Yeah.
Wow, you were influenced by Creed. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, because they're one of those bands that a lot of people kind of, criticize, and I'm not going to be mean-spirited and do that, but some people swear by him. They're like, yeah, good old Creed.
I mean, yeah, they got a bad rap and all, but
well, because he sounded blatantly kind of like a rip-off of Eddie Vedder, but I don't know. Behind the scenes, maybe they're really nice guys, and it was kind of like the cool thing to do, to hate Creed at the time. Some people loved him. I never really resonated with their music too much, but
that was the only album that I got into. But it was because it was the whole album.
Right, exactly.
Also, the first song is pretty badass. It's very different than what you're used to hearing of Creed. Bullets, check it out.
Yeah, I think I heard something from them once, and I was like, it's not so bad. So, I mean, every band, that, you can find something. They go, okay, well, this particular song.
Yeah. Also, Deftones, White Pony, that was really, really huge for me. And I'm a big fan of Tool, Pussifer.
Oh, of course,
Perfect Circle.
I never
seen
got
all
into
of the bands live.
I never got into Tool, but I liked Perfect Circle.
Oh, man. I saw their recent tour twice. It was so good.
Wow.
Their new stuff is quite
Maynard,
quite good. Numa.
We are drinking wine tonight.
Oh, gosh, Numa.
And Maynard actually has his own wine. Did you know that?
Yes, I've had it. It's really good. Yeah.
I'd like to have my own wine, but I'd like to experiment with it. I wouldn't want to keep it like wine. I'd like to say this is wine infused with, something. something out of the ordinary, like, maybe some other kind of fruit. This is wine mixed with kiwi, or this is wine mixed with dragon fruit. You guys ever had a dragon fruit before?
Dragon fruit? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's all kinds of weird...
It's really good.
People don't know this. There's lots of different fruits all over the world you've never heard of. And I was like thinking, what if you made wine with exotic fruits? I'm trying to think of what's another exotic fruit? Pineapple wine. Well,
Pineapple's not exotic.
In Korea...
Passion fruit.
In Korea, they make wine out of... they have potato wine. And it's called... Is it called soju? This is called soju. It's a potato wine.
Interesting. Yeah. I don't know if you can make wine out of exotic fruits or not. But...
Well, if you can make wine out of potato, you can do anything. That's what I think.
Okay, well then I want a guava wine. Please and thank you. Anyone out there listening?
Well, it's all fermentation.
Bring me some guava wine.
Great.
I love guava. Everything guava. So good. I first had it in Thailand, and I've been obsessed ever since.
I'm so jealous that you've been to Thailand. This is Wild Eric's Traveling Podcast.
To go.
I'm going to go to Thailand one day, and I'm going to eat a bunch of Thai food. And what I'd like to do is, I heard that in Thai restaurants, you can jump into, they have boxing rings there, and you can, jump in and fight the staff.
Oh, well, I didn't see anyone
This
jump
is
in,
cold.
But at the Muay Thai fight I watched, we had a 3-way fight, which... was quite interesting.
Tell me more about this 3-way fight in Thailand you witnessed.
It was three guys fighting each other.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
No Americans. This is just Thai fighters that came out. And they're more like actors. And do they do this right in the restaurant?
Well,
where do you see a Thai fight in Thailand? Do you go to the Thai fight arena?
Well,
or is it at McDonald's?
It was hosted by a couple of ladyboy bars. And we were in this indoor yet outdoor
So there's a ladyboy bar, and they have Thai fights in there?
Yeah, it was open air, and we lost power at the beginning of it, and then the power came back.
During the fight, you lost power?
At the very beginning of it, yeah.
And they were fighting in the dark?
And we were just please tell me it's not going to be over.
Hold on, did they keep fighting when the lights went out?
I think everything kind of just stopped and chilled, and then they passed out more drinks.
How cool would it have been if the lights went out, and then the lights came back on, the guy was just knocked out cold, bleeding. Oh. You missed the whole fight, but something bad must have happened to this guy.
Right. Well, it didn't take too long. It was their holiday time. We also went to the Lantern Festival that same night.
Sounds really beautiful.
It was amazing and gorgeous.
What do they have, lanterns floating over the water?
Thousands of stars. No, it was... They actually released them in the air there. Yeah.
Talking about thousands of little lamps floating through the air?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was very gorgeous. I did not release one. Environmental reasons. But
you didn't release a lantern because of environmental reasons?
Yeah. It's not.
It's paper, isn't it?
Well, it's bamboo and paper, yes, but
that's
some will get stuck in trees and then of course they fall down eventually. They do a Lantern Festival thing here. Actually, in Reidsville, they hosted one here a couple months ago, last year, and that was really cool for us to be a host of that. And they light them and put them in the river, in the lake, and they float, and then they pick them up.
I think it'd be great is if you're releasing these floating lanterns and they all have sandwiches in them. So when they fall back down, you can eat a sandwich. You're not seeing that vision? Okay, maybe it's just something because I'm hungry. Mm-hmm. Haven't eaten all day.
What?
Rachel
I
gave
a
me
cheese cracker pepperoni platter over here. Cake. Yeah, and there's plenty more pound cake. Come on, I've got
Wild
so
Eric
much
has
food.
to stay thin. He's
so
single.
Much food here.
I got to stay as thin as possible to
You have lost a lot of weight. I'm proud of you.
Once I find a woman and she loves me with all her heart, then I will gain a lot of weight. I'm like, ha ha, gotcha. But no, I gotta get them in and get them addicted to my personality and my stupid jokes. And then
I'm impressed though. You've
Well,
don't
be too impressed. What happened was I just got ill for a while and lost the weight. But I have been trying to eat better. But you know what it is? You can only eat salad for so long before you're like, now it's time. And you know what? I tipped back some alcoholic beverages not too long ago. And I was like, this is the time where I'm going to order an entire Pizza Hut pizza. And it was jalapeno and pineapple and pepperoni, one of my favorites. And not only that, I ordered some wings. And after that, I've been on a steady incline ever since. Now today, sometimes I avoid the scale, but I got on there today and I was like, all right, how bad are the damages? And I probably gained maybe 6 pounds back, so got to get back on the wagon. But not today. No, tonight I'm looking forward to having some rice and beans and chicken or something. But tomorrow, yeah. Anyway, I want to get back to the life of Rachel.
Real quick, though, bring it back to the Muay Thai fight. There was a bare knuckle fight that I witnessed, but it ended early because thumb in the eye. There's your violence for you.
Yeah, I mean, violence can be kind of cool. You don't want to go too far, but
no.
Thai fighting and wow.
I will say the women there are badass. You do not want to mess with a woman who knows Muay Thai.
No, women are more dangerous with their legs because they were designed to give birth to these children, and so therefore their legs are like giant baseball bats, and they could really just destroy, a woman's legs. I saw this thing on TV once that said the world's hardest kicker. And then you'd think like a Taekwondo expert would be the hardest kicker. Turns out the hardest kicker in the world was a banana way. What's the name of that art where they dance around? Capoeira. Have you heard about that?
Yeah, capoeira. Yeah, I've done that in aerobics before.
Yeah,
it's a
beautiful art, but they have the most powerful kicks.
Dancing martial arts. It's pretty cool.
Most powerful kicks out there.
Oh yeah.
Capoeira movie I saw a long time ago was fantastic. Only the Strong. It's like an old 90s gem. And Mark Dacascos is in it. And it's a great movie. It really highlights the capoeira fighting style. It's got a really catchy song in it. So I recommend that to people. But anywho, we're straying away from music a little bit. Let's get, we're almost an hour in.
Gymkata, that movie.
Well, that's a different.
That was
Gymkata was fantastic. It's a guy who fused gymnastics with karate. It was a great little 80s cheese movie. I love Gymkata.
I found it randomly at a library sale on VHS, and I was like, "What? I have to watch."
If you're looking for a good cheesy, great martial arts movie from the 80s,
so
Gymkata.
Yeah,
it's fantastic. Because think about it. If you did train both, if you trained as a gymnast and a martial artist, you could pull moves like some 0G stuff, But one thing to know about Wild Eric here, I love all those cheesy 80s movies and 90s movies, especially martial arts movies, Steven Seagal, Van Damme. Bloodsport, to me, is the greatest martial arts movie of all time and the best soundtrack. Yeah, Paul Herzog made a great keyboard soundtrack. And Jean-Claude Van Damme, it was like his big breakout movie, and it's the best martial arts movie ever made. That's just an opinion. Have you seen it?
Nice. No, I have not. I'll check that out.
Brady, have you seen Bloodsport?
Probably.
Let me tell you something. If you're out there right now and you've never seen Bloodsport, you need to take a whip and whip yourself because you're losing out on life. Find a dark corner, get alone or get with a kooky friend, get some wine, sit down, make some guacamole chips, maybe some buffalo wings. What else are we going to have? Some sushi. Get some sushi.
Yum.
And watch Bloodsport and be ready. It's, there's a Mentos commercial in the movie. It's fantastic, But, don't get me started on Bloodsport. I'll be sitting here crying and talking about it forever, but back to music. So you're in your teen years listening to bands like Evanescence. You're listening to Creed. You're listening to the First Aid Kit. What was the last one you mentioned? Plum.
The First Aid Kit. That was recent.
Oh, okay, so you're listening to Plum in your youth.
That's a really happy song.
You meet the singer of Plum. Now, what happens when you're at the end of your high school years?
So I discovered my father's record collection in the
I thought you
garage.
meant his criminal record. Dad, how dare you never tell me you were a thief in Thailand?
No, my parents are the best. They're so great.
I loved them.
They've never done anything wrong. They don't drink or smoke or do anything at all. Like
I envy them. I mean,
they're just, like,
think of what they
super
in private,
patient.
the romantic times they have.
They're super patient with all of the kids and adults that they work with.
Romance is so much better.
That much patience.
Think about it. Romance is good by itself, right? But imagine romance with somebody you really get along with. Then there is no dark times that pepper the light of it all. Because I've had romantic relationships that were beautiful, but they were peppered in times of darkness. Oh. And I was like, ew, I don't want this. I want to meet a girl who's just silly, ridiculous, watches Van Damme movies, bakes me cakes and puts them in bed. So when I get in bed at night, I think I'm holding on to her, but it's a big cake.
Probably put crumbs in the bed.
Did you put a cake in bed again, sweetheart?
Crumbs in the bed.
Well, you just change the sheets in the morning, that's all. Eat as much cake you want, and you say, we'll put these sheets in, I got Tide Pods, we're good. Did you know you can use baking soda to wash your clothes, and it's actually better for you? And baking soda is like $2. You can also make some other things with baking soda, but I won't talk about that. Okay. We're talking about your life. We're talking about high school, and then you're getting out of high school, and you say to yourself, hey, I'm going to hit the road. I'm going to be a musician. I'm going to be the next Phil Collins. What do you say?
So, well, the high school
Billie
part.
Eilish.
The high school part, well, I do like Billie Eilish a lot. The high school part, I created my own little listening area in my father's garage. I found all his records, his record collection, and a record player, and I was like, hey, is it cool if I just
well, there's something special about vinyl.
I was like, yeah, do it.
Something special about vinyl record players.
Oh my gosh, it was so special discovering all of that, and I learned so much.
Do you recall any of those records that he had that you could mention?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it was
Donna Summer.
Did
he have Donna Summer records? Did he have Beatles records? Did he have
that.
Pantera? What was he listening to?
My dad is a huge Beatles fan. Huge. So
your dad's a Beatles fan?
Oh, yeah. I am too. My boyfriend is as well.
Who's your favorite Beatle?
So Paul.
Mine's John.
Nice. My boyfriend's favorite is John. And I think my dad's is too.
John just seemed like he was the one that if you were in a bar fight, he would like, let's kill these guys, I got him, let's show them some peace and love.
My boyfriend says that our writing style is pretty much like he's John and I'm Paul. And it makes a lot of sense. It does. And so it was a lot of Beatles, Pink Floyd.
Okay. Let's talk about Floyd. So what was your introduction to
near
Floyd?
And dear to my heart.
What was your introduction to Floyd? Was it Dark Side
Dark
of the Moon?
Side, yeah.
That was mine too.
Yeah.
And that's really where I kind of stayed. I mean, I kind of hovered over here and there, listened to little songs here and there, but Dark Side of the Moon is just the perfect stoner album,
It is, yeah. I didn't know that,
matches up with Wizard of Oz, supposedly.
Yeah, I didn't know any of that back then.
I was a big Judy Garlic fan.
Listening to all of it. Oh, I know you are.
No, I say Judy Garlic because my uncle always calls her Judy Garlic.
Oh my gosh.
Judy Garlic. I don't want to get into Judy right now, but yeah. So Pink Floyd influenced you. Your dad's records. What else did he have?
Yeah.
Beatles. Did he have any Elvis?
Yeah.
Did he have
any
Elvis?
Oh yeah.
What about some like off the wall stuff no one's ever heard of?
Well,
Uriah Heep.
So, I mean, there was a lot of random stuff in there, a lot of old school stuff, and also world music too.
Instrumental.
Yes, and not. And so I kind of got a variety of all things. What I learned early on is that I'm not a fan of country music.
Really? Mm-hmm. Not even Johnny Cash?
Oh, no.
Elvis was considered country in some of the stuff.
I do like old country. I do like Johnny Cash.
What about Dolly?
I do like Dolly. But I'm not a fan of like recent country.
What if Salvador Dali and Dolly Parton had an album and it was just called Salvador Dali Parton?
What would that sound like?
Well, it would have to be like a painting album. It'd have to be like a music video where he's painting and she's just like singing, But we don't have to get into that. It's just a quick idea that came to my head. Yeah, somebody else can take that idea and make it a meme out of it or something. Yeah, we're going to take a break here because we're human. And we'll be back shortly. It won't be any time for you guys, but for us, yes. Welcome back to Wild Eric's Traveling Interrogation. I am here with Rachel Amick, owner of Scale Street Music in Reidsville, North Carolina. And last we were talking about Rachel's life after high school, being that she was raised in a musical family and, trained on piano and so forth and had all these different influences in the teenage years. And then finally getting out of high school and saying, well, what now? So, Rachel, what happened after high school?
Yeah, so I went to college. And I realized that I didn't want to do just anything. I wanted to do music and theater. And so I dabbled in both of those. And I ended up doing theater for a little while, and then I went to school for artist management at G-Tech in High Point. It was a new program they were doing, and really, really enjoyed that. I only did a year of it, and I did realize that a lot of my friends wanted a booking agent more so than a
Why did you quit? I'm going to stop you there.
se.
Why did you quit the program?
Well, it's funny. The professors did tell me that program, that specific one, not recording or the other ones that they offered, but the artist management one, that was the only one that really would probably make any money eventually.
Okay, fair enough, yeah.
But yeah, after trying to manage a couple of my friends' bands, I realized that really they didn't want to treat it as a business. And that's really what it boiled down to, is a band is a business.
Right, and some artists are just, not ready to see it that way, and they're
Right.
too
A lot of them were doing it for fun.
whimsical and they're flaky. A lot of artists are flaky, so
Definitely flaky.
that's why they need management.
And the ones that I really were rooting for and hope that they make it, they ended up breaking up, and that was a little disheartening. And so I did book a couple of my friends' bands. I got them some shows, and that was a lot of fun, and they were grateful for that. But I didn't want to be a booking agent. I wanted to
The important thing is you tried it. That's the thing.
manage
Discovery,
them
right?
and help them move forward. Yeah, I wanted them to thrive. I wanted them to do something with their art. I was a big fan of my friend's music, and a couple of different bands that I really loved. It was a little heartbreaking to see them eventually fall apart and not accomplish any great things and continue on. But
Right.
I understand life gets in the way, and
It does, yeah.
families and all that, which is wonderful. But yeah, so I took it as, okay, well, now I have all this information to manage myself. So when I do my music, I know how to get my songs copyrighted, to become a more serious musician. And so I did copyright my songs. I'd already done that, but I did learn a whole lot from that, and I learned how to record as well. And so and that was a big thing, was going into the recording studio prepared. When I was younger, when I recorded my first EP at 16, I recorded 4 songs, and I felt like I wasn't prepared enough. Like, if I was able to record myself while I'm writing, then I can do all the arrangements myself and really feel how the song completely is complete, and not wait to spend that precious, expensive time in the recording studio not being prepared. And so learning how to use Pro Tools, the industry standard, it really helps to be prepared. It does. And so I've recorded a bit with other artists in the studio, and I do have a song on Spotify through another artist, and I'm working on a new album myself right now.
Awesome.
With my boyfriend, my duo, and I'm very excited about that. And I'm utilizing what I learned in college and putting all that together in arrangement instead of just what I always used to do. My fallback is just using the voice recorder on my phone, which is a great tool. You know, whenever you're driving in the car.
Yeah, capture ideas, definitely.
Riding around, and you've got a great idea for a song. Boom, you hit record, and you've got that little sliver of something. But when you really want to delve into it and put it all together, it really helps to just record yourself on. I use Ableton right now because I have a push, which is a.
What's really, easier? Is Ableton easier really than cool Pro Tools or?
Feature. I don't think it's easier per se. I think they're very, very similar. Both of them are quite easy to learn.
That's good to know. I've thought about using them.
Yeah. And the push that I have is a really cool sequencer, MIDI controller. And I also use a MIDI keyboard as well. And so I get to arrange my songs, MIDI and audio in the program, and put it all together. And then, after I'm ready with my finished song, then go into the studio. And it makes it for a lot easier of a time. So.
Right. Let me ask you a question. When you're writing a song, does the inspiration come first, or are you playing something and what you're playing brings out the emotions? Or what's your process? Tell us more about your process of writing.
Honestly, it's like kind of half and half, really. I go through a lot of times where it's just I have an idea for it's vocals most of the time first, lyrics or just melody, and I use placeholder lyrics, kind of like what the Beatles did, Breakfast.
Yeah, when you told me about that was insane. She told me a story about how Paul McCartney, if I remember correctly, he made up some kind of song that was silly lyrics about breakfast or something like that, right?
Yep.
And then later it became the vocal melody for one of his major hits. Which hit was that?
It was Scrambled Eggs.
Right, but he
turned into Yesterday.
Right. So he wrote a song about scrambled eggs, and it turned into the big hit Yesterday. He just rearranged the lyrics. He had come up with a great vocal melody and some chords, and it's amazing. So that's cool. So does that kind of thing happen to you?
He called it dummy lyrics, and he hadn't used it a lot before, is what he said. But I mean, it's something that I do on occasion, yes. But I usually what it is I just start singing, and it can be about anything, And if I really, really like the melody, but I don't like the lyrics, then I'll change them.
Right, exactly.
Everything's fluid. And I used to...
You don't start on the keyboard? You always start with your vocals? Or do you sometimes start with the keyboard?
Most of the time, I start with vocals. Yes. Because I am a singer. Singing is my passion in life.
Right, so you're singing all day or in the car, you're like in the shower or whatever.
Time, yeah. And if there's something I really like, I'm like, oh, okay. Well, maybe I'll hit the keys on this.
A lot of experimentation.
Right. And then there's sometimes where I'm just like, I really just want to play the piano. And so I'll just start jamming on the keyboard and play whatever comes to mind, whatever I feel. And then I'll start forming a melody out of that. And then just lyrics will just come.
So basically the ideas can come from all different inspirations and sources, and you take those nuggets and gather them and say, okay, what do I got here? And then start building from those nuggets or from those little bricks you save, right?
Right. Yeah. But
I'd say that's true for me too, to a degree.
What I find is the easiest for me is starting with lyrics and a melody first, and then adding music to that.
Right, okay.
That's the most natural progression that I have. Because when I'm delving into just the music, it's like, oh, well, what will fit here? And I'm trying to force lyrics onto the music instead of the other way around. And I feel like it's more natural to start with lyrics and a melody than it is just music. But I kind of like doing both. It just depends on my mood.
Right, I hear you. Let me take you over to present day. You know, you've had this musical journey, and then somehow you end up owning a music store. How does that happen? Mm-hmm. Is it something that you thought you'd be doing, or is it something that just kind of fell in your lap, or what happened?
Well, I've always loved the idea of owning my own business. I'm a big people person, but I don't really enjoy working with other people or for other people. I have my own ideas, and I really love to be in control. And seeing my mother and just all the stuff she dealt with, owning her own business, and really being in charge of her and my father teaching music lessons my whole life, and seeing the business side of that, like, wow, that is a lot of work. Why would anyone want to do this?
for the freedom, right?
But yeah, it's for the freedom. I mean, my parents were able to be there for my life. They didn't have a 9 to 5. But granted, they did work like after hours, so they couldn't make it to all my basketball games and all that. They did make it to all the dance recitals though, but it was just like, working in the afternoon. But they were present. They were always there, and working from home, just they were always there, which was really, really nice.
So not just freedom for, control of how something happens creatively, but they had freedom to control their time management, which gave them more family time.
Yeah, and we always got to go on vacations whenever we wanted. Like, they were in control of all of that.
So your parents inspired you with their freedom of running a business.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, if I did this...
And they're outdoorsy people,
right.
So...
Right.
We're always active, always doing things and going places, and it's always very exciting. I grew up very, very well.
And you finding now that you've owned the music store, for how long have you owned this place now?
A year and a half now.
Scale Street Music?
I bought it September 2021.
Have you found yourself being able to make some freedom for you, or is it just totally tying you down, taking all your time, or a mixture of both? Or
a little bit of both, actually. So, see, what happened was, I was working, doing a lot of merchandising traveling up and down the East Coast for company. And I worked in many, many different stores, big retail stores. And I eventually became part of a team of 40 people. And goodness, adults have more drama than children do. It's quite crazy. So the dynamic of the team and dealing with all the stress of deadlines and having to get the renovations done and all of that. And I got really good at merchandising, and I'm really, really good with people. I've always been good with people. I'm like A1 customer service, like, whoa, that's kind of my thing. Never liked the restaurant industry. That was not for me at all. The stress of that. I don't need.
What did you do in a restaurant? Were you like cooking or were you serving or?
I did hosting, waitressing, and bartending, and just the stress of all of that is not.
Well, it's too fast paced. I think also it's like
way too fast paced.
Yeah.
And people
a music
get
store,
very,
people
very
come in, they can talk.
When it comes to food,
Yeah.
But when it comes to music,
yeah.
I can bring joy and happiness to people. I can share my love of music and my love of life with other people.
It's not some crazy rush. There's time to actually get to know people.
Right.
Your customers, you know?
Exactly. I have time to talk to them and to find out and delve into exactly what they want to do, what they like. Like, what's your favorite instrument? And what do you wish you could play? What do you want to learn how to play? We teach over 20 different instruments here. And, you have a broken instrument? We can probably fix that for you. And, you want to learn how to songwrite? Well, in the spring, I'm starting a songwriting group.
That's
where I'm going to teach people how to songwrite and the ins and out of all the legality of it, entertainment law and copywriting and how to get your lyrics just right and collaborate with other people. Like, we're gonna break off into different genres, and I'm very excited about that. I've got a whole long list of people very excited about the songwriting group, and so that really excites me because songwriting is very, very, very near and dear to my heart.
So what are the struggles, though? I mean, you talk about...
It's exciting.
And, of course, I can totally relate to all those positive aspects. But what would you say are the hurdles and struggles of owning a music business in this 2023?
Okay, so when I bought it, I had just quit my merchandising job. I felt like I was in zombie land. Avoid the people. And I had to wear a mask and talk to the managers who I'm trying to sell things to. I have to yell at them, trying to sell them my product through a mask, and I'm just feeling lost. Like, okay, I don't feel like this is important enough. Why am I out here? Why am I out here doing this?
I wanted to say this, I think that what's going to determine whether you're happy or not in anything you're doing is if you don't deep down believe what you're doing is what you're meant to be doing, if you don't think it's a worthy endeavor, then you're going to be in this mediocre spiritual place where you're going to be thinking to yourself, is this really what I do for a living?
Right.
I could be doing something else that really resonates with my heart. And I don't think you're ever really going to respect yourself if you allow your life to be mediocre. You know,
exactly.
Especially if you do have, I heard it put this way, that the heaviest burden is potential. I mean, you know you have something to give, and you know you're not giving it. That weighs on your spirit and your conscience.
Well, the product I was selling was candy, and I mean, who doesn't like candy? It does bring joy to people. However, it's very fleeting. There's nothing substantial there, and it's not life-changing.
Right.
And I wanted to do more for a community that's hurting. COVID really, it upset the community. It hurt us, and we all of a sudden weren't allowed to or able to be together and have all the things and hobbies that we used to do together. And so I quit my job and I went back to school online for IT, software development, and I wanted to create something beautiful for people. And I really want to delve into educational software and virtual reality things, and also music stuff with that and all of that. But I wasn't really sure what else to do during that time. I was just in school. And then my mother told me, hey, I'm going to go back to teaching full time instead of working at the music store in Reidsville. I didn't even know there was a music store in Reidsville until she started working there about a year earlier. And my aunt also worked here before that. But I had no idea about it. And I grew up half an hour from here in Eden.
Wow, okay. You didn't know about it.
Didn't know there was a music store. Did not know. And so, I came to visit my mom one day. She was working, and I was like, holy crap, it's like a whole music store in here. It's not just like a little bit. It's like everything. Wow. Okay. Did not know about this. The old owner didn't do a whole lot of advertising and stuff, so I didn't know. But, it's the only music store left in the community. The one in Eden had closed down. So yeah, I was just like, wow, this is pretty cool. Oh, impressive. Okay. So my mom called me one day and was like, yeah, so I'm going to go back to teaching full time. And she was like, I'm going to start looking for someone to replace me for the music store because I don't think he's got anybody in mind right now. And I was like, that's nice of you. Okay. Wait, what about me? I'm not doing anything right now. I'm in school. Like, it's all online. I've got time. Music store? What? Actually, that sounds really cool. That sounds kind of perfect. What? Yeah, hey, tell him about me. Tell him I want an interview.
So you start working. What was his name?
Yeah, Ron Wheeler.
So you start working for his music store.
Yeah, and he was like, all right, so what I do is a month trial. Let's see if it's a good fit. You know, if you want to leave or whatever, just, it's a month. Just, we'll figure that out. Let me know. And, I worked here for a year, but he offered to sell me the store about 6 months in or so.
Wow, okay.
He told me, he's like, I want to retire. I'm trying to sell the store.
How old was this man?
I want to offer it to you. I believe he's about 65 or so.
Oh, okay. Well,
he has some health issues, which he's very open about. So I feel comfortable mentioning that.
So he's having health issues, and he's just like, hey, maybe I ought to sell this store. You happen to be at the right place at the right time, and it's destiny.
I'd owned it for 25 years.
Wow.
And with the health issues, he was just like, I'm ready to be done with this. Right. And, I want someone to take it over. I don't want it to end. Yeah, so many music stores, they die with their owners. It happens a lot.
And it affects the community.
It does.
When a music store goes away.
It really does. And I know the community wants this music store because many, many, many people have told me. They're really happy that we're still here. And all the regulars and all the jammers. We do jam sessions spring through fall, and have a place for the community to come and just jam together. And I really, really love that.
That is a great idea, yeah. And
it's wonderful.
You're going to start recording it soon, right?
Yes, actually,
Gary Grissom.
Our last our jammers back in the fall, we talked about performing in the spring, after we get some more jam sessions in, when we start back, I've talked to the downtown market manager, and we've got a space a block away outdoors to perform, and we're gonna make it a whole thing. So that'll be a whole lot of fun because they got really tight like a band, really, really good, and we have a lot of fun. So gonna have the jammers performing here soon in the late spring. That'll be a lot of fun.
Sounds great. You know, I think that you're in a great place in your life now, in this position, because you're able to affect the community. It's also a place where you can feel in control of your life. They feel like what you're doing matters, and I'm gonna close out the podcast by asking you this question here. Where do you see this going from here? Where do you see, your dreams tying into this store and then beyond, and this musical journey you're on? What do you anticipate happening next? Or are you just not even worried about it? Where are you at with this?
Well, I have a bunch of ideas, and I'm hoping to implement a lot of them this new year, and I'm very excited about it, actually.
I think your store is going to be famous. I really do. And I'm going to try to help make that. I'm going to try to make this store. It's already on the map locally. People know this place, the location. It's been inside their souls for years.
Yeah,
but I think that, it could be so much bigger, and I pray that it is.
Thank you.
So we have a special treat, ladies and gentlemen. Before we end the podcast, Rachel is going to bless us with a performance. Now, we've never recorded with these microphones before, so we're just going to give it a shot. But she's going to perform on that fabulous Zimbabwe instrument, which is called the
kalimba.
The kalimba.
But this one is actually the sansula.
Oh, so you're talking about it's a different type, or we're not going to be using that one?
It is a different type. It's
so it's
called
a sansula. Sansula.
Yeah,
okay.
it's a resonator.
Okay. Cool. So
made in Germany.
You want me to pause it first, or you want to just go into it?
We can pause so I can get ready.
Okay, we're going to set up. And now Rachel Amick will perform on the sansula. Take it away.
Trust the darkness, my light is bright, my light is bright. Thank you, and good night.
This is Tired Eric's Traveling Smoke. Yeah, I'm falling asleep here on the podcast. Listen, that was awesome. If you don't think that was awesome, go and you're just nuts. But I think what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to probably start the podcast with that. Here, let me get a separate track of that, and I'll put it at the beginning. Do it one more time. And it's going to end and start with it.
Okay.